There's a weird trend happening in gaming right now, and you've probably felt it yourself. Every year, there are dozens of new games, huge budgets, new engines, massive studios, yet somehow, a lot of us end up going back to the old stuff, the classics, the titles we grew up with, even if they're clunky, outdated, or broken by modern standards. And it raises a simple question: why is nostalgia suddenly dominating everything? At first, I thought it was just nostalgia for childhood. You know, the usual wanting to escape into something familiar when life gets stressful. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized this isn't just about memories, it's about trust. Older games, even the messy ones, feel honest in a way modern games rarely do. When I go back to something like the early Assassin's Creed games, the PS2 classics, Gothic, the old Halos, there's this feeling that the developers were experimenting, trying things for the first time, pushing their limits. They weren't chasing trends or filler content or monetization strategies. They were just trying to make something cool. And ironically, those rough edges make the games feel more alive. Modern gaming, on the other hand, often feels like it's built in a corporate laboratory. Perfect textures, cinematic lighting, polished animations, and yet somehow the soul is missing. A lot of today's 8AA titles look incredible, but don't leave a mark. They're designed for mass appeal instead of passion, and players can feel that. That's why nostalgia hits so hard. It reminds us of a time when games felt personal. But there's more to it. Nostalgia isn't just about old games. It's also baked into new ones. Look at how many studios are bringing back retro aesthetics, PS1 style horror, pixel art platformers, remasters, remakes, reboots. Some of these projects are fantastic, but others clearly exist because publishers realize nostalgia is profitable. It's safer to repackage a beloved title than to risk creating something new. You can see it in how sequels cling to their past. Fans demand everything to feel like the old days, and studios panic if a game changes too much. But when a franchise doesn't change at all, people complain it's boring and repetitive. Nostalgia traps developers in a no-win situation. Stick to the past and be uninspired, or evolve and be unfaithful. And the gaming community itself plays into this. We're hypercritical now. Trailers get dissected frame by frame. Every gameplay leak turns into a debate, and expectations are so unrealistically high that it's almost impossible for anything new to surprise us. Old games don't have to deal with this. They already proved themselves. They already survived. So we approach them with love instead of suspicion. Another reason nostalgia dominates gaming is because modern life moves too fast. Social media, constant updates, endless content, everything demands attention. Old games feel like a break from that chaos. You turn them on and suddenly the world slows down. The stakes feel smaller, the pacing feels calmer, and you can absorb the experience instead of fighting through it. And maybe the simplest explanation is the most honest one. Back then, everything felt new, not because the games were better, but because we were different. We had more patience, more imagination, more room to be impressed. Modern gaming struggles to compete with the emotional memory of discovering something for the first time. But here's the thing, nostalgia doesn't mean gaming is dying. In fact, it proves the opposite. People wouldn't feel nostalgic if games didn't matter to them. The love is still there, it's just looking for something to latch onto. And that's why nostalgic games keep coming back. Because we're not just seeking old mechanics or retro graphics, we're chasing a feeling, the excitement of stepping into a world that didn't try to measure your engagement or monetize your time, a world that simply wanted to be explored. Nostalgia won't disappear. If anything, it will shape the future more than ever. But maybe somewhere between the remakes and the retro throwbacks, a new game will appear that makes us feel that spark again. Not because it reminds us of the past, but because it gives us something worth remembering. I hope you enjoyed this video and would be glad if you liked or subscribed. See you in the next one.